All right, so we get that very pleasant reminder that the recording is happening. So, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Qumulex Radio. I am Josh, joined as always by Aaron, my co-host and friend. And today we have an extra special guest. We have Matt Barnett, President CEO of PSA Network, which is something that Qumulex is pretty proud to be a part of. So, Matt, for maybe those that aren't as familiar, could you give a little overview about what PSA Network has to offer? Because we often hear people that are maybe misled or confused and think you're just a buying group.
Yeah, that's a great, and thanks for having me join. So PSA is a company and organization that's been around for over 50 years in the security industry. And what we are is a consortium of system integrators, both small and large, that at each get some benefit uniquely out of PSA. So fundamentally, we act as a bank. We provide credit and terms to the integrator channel, which of course helps them with cash flow. We provide a lot of educational opportunities, so not only getting certified on products like Qumulex, but also other areas for their organization, whether it's sales or operations training, project management training, what have you. We have either our own training or we partner with third-party companies to offer training directly or through our learning management system online. We put on a lot of networking events. So we have, as an example, 17 different committees that meet every month virtually to talk about issues. So, operations, purchasing, finance, HR, sales, leadership, next gen leadership. So we moderate those panel discussions and they talk about real world issues and how each of them are solving it. So it's very collaborative, even though people on the calls may actually be competitors in the marketplace. As they're part of the PSA network, they tend to be very friendly and open and sharing in these environments. Of course, access to products, again, we have about 180 different companies on our line card, representing over 250 different products, product brand names from those companies. So if they need access to products they may not support all the time or are new to, typically we can get them product. And then services, we provide services to the integrator channel. So from helping them redesign their website to doing financial metrics survey and seeing how they compare to other integrators in their same size, so they can see where they may be doing better than other integrators in their size and areas where they might need to improve. So we provide a lot of services to the integrators as well. So all that to say, our mission is to rise the tide in the integration channel, and everything we do is about supporting the integrators who own PSA.
No, that's fantastic. And, I know our founders have a long history and relationship, with PSA, and always found it to be very, very valuable. So, and obviously that is your membership. You're here to represent the integrators. And we often talk here pretty often about how I came from that side of the fence about 10 years ago. So I'm always very interested in the integrators' point of view. And we've been hearing a little bit over the last year or two, maybe some conversation about cloud, which obviously is very important to us. We're a cloud-based product, and there's been some discussion about, some maybe questioning if the cloud will be negative for the integrator, if this is going to be a bad thing. So, I mean, what is your perspective for your membership? Should they be embracing cloud, or is this going to be a problem for them?
Well, I think there's always pros and cons to any situation, but my general feeling is like in our personal lives, everything we do is on an iPhone or on some type of mobile device or iPad type of device, and you're basically working in the cloud 100% of the time. And so, from a technology standpoint in this industry, outside of some edge case examples like regulated industries that have to have on-premise or firewalled systems. We're going to look back in 10 years and wonder why we did it any other way, is my personal feeling. So we're promoting, the sale of subscriptions and managed service type products to the membership. PSA is probably 15 years in now to promoting these types of products. And it seems like now every company that comes into PSA to talk to us has got some type of cloud or subscription-based product. So it's definitely the trend and where the industry is going. Again, there's always some risk that there'll be some companies that decide that they're not going to support the channel anymore, and potentially you're going to sell direct, and they have an install base of cloud-based products. It certainly is a lot easier to flip the switch and deal with them directly. But I think ultimately sanity prevails in these situations where they need to have companies that can roll trucks and have technicians that understand how these systems work. And I think that ultimately is going to keep kind of the balance in the industry between whether it's cloud or any other technology, that you need to have integrators that can go out and fix problems.
I would agree. We've talked about this here on previous episodes that no matter the technology, the customer still needs someone they can rely on to take care of them.
That's right.
Even something as simple as hanging the cameras, running the wires, doing all that installation work. If you're an accounting firm, you're not interested in getting on a ladder and doing that kind of work, nor do they have the tools or the expertise. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I personally disagree with any thought that no matter what technology, that the integrator goes away. I think that's sometimes maybe a bit of sensationalism or
Yeah, and the reality is there's some not necessarily cloud companies that in this industry that are now I'm being told that they're selling direct to certain end users. And that's usually the death spiral when companies start going around their channel and selling to end users directly. And a lot of big end users want to be treated differently. But if you stop supporting the channel in those cases and sell around the channel, it usually has repercussions, and so hopefully that doesn't become a trend. Doesn't matter if it's cloud or not; they're doing it regardless of the technology.
man, I used to deal a lot with telecommunications, phone systems, and audiovisual and things like that, which of course you have a large audiovisual component there, but it seems like there's always this cycle of I guess threat or discussion, or some that like to experiment with the direct to end user model. And as you say, that's either, I don't know if it's an indication of the death spiral or if it creates one, but that that just never works. And I think maybe even an end user that thinks that maybe they're a larger firm and they have lots of capability, they still typically find that they just don't have the resources, to manage that effort. And it always becomes an issue. And then in our view, we focus on the channel. I think you create mistrust. Maybe there's a reason you're going straight to end user. Maybe those with knowledge and expertise are not supporting you for a reason. And we're maybe addressing it a different way. But no, that's very interesting. So something I noticed when, the year of COVID happened and all of these trainings moved online. I went from normally not being able to attend your conferences I hear so many good things about, and I was in attendance. And that was for somebody that I've been in IT and telephony, as well as security, telecom, all these things. And, this was really the first time I really heard an organization pushing in a detailed way for managed services and trying to educate and inform their member base. And I was really impressed with that. So that's now been about 4 years since that occurred. Where do you think we stand now as an industry in terms of moving towards a managed services model and adopting that type of a path?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same or similar to the adoption of cloud products in general, right? I think it's still maybe high single digits to low double digits in where we are as an industry. And it tends to be a very conservative, slow moving industry by nature. So I think there's still a long way to go. Most of the main integrators are still very much turnkey construction type operations.
Mhm.
And a lot of end users, they haven't really bought into buying the entire security package as a cloud solution or as a managed service at this point, because you're dealing with facilities people, and that's just not part of the vernacular there yet. If you're dealing with the IT folks, then it's like a no-brainer.
Right.
But so I think there's still a long way to go, and we continue to pound the drum here. And largely, it's a change in and how you manage your business. And that's what we're trying to educate our membership on is, from a financial perspective, it's a big difference between, doing the $1 million turnkey project or selling subscription services and, having to amortize that over 3 to 5 years. And how you account for it is different, and how you finance it is different. And so we're trying to, educate and also provide solutions to help them get over that hump.
No, it makes sense. And do you think that our industry is unique compared to maybe some others, and that has impacted their ability to adopt that business model?
I think, every industry, I think, wants to think they're unique in some way. I think technology, it's just hard because there's a lot of moving pieces with what we're selling. It's not like we're selling a car. You have a couple of versions of the car, but that's pretty much it. And you can lease the car for 3 or 5 years or what have you. I mean, there's a lot of different pieces and parts that the integrators have to put together and
Hmm.
sell. And while some manufacturers may support that type of sale, others don't yet. And so there's just a lot of different things to take into account there. Most of the integrators are not financing these deals themselves. So they're either the manufacturer is providing some type of financing, or they're using a third-party financing company. So it's something that PSA is looking at, whether we should be doing that ourselves or not. But making it agnostic. We could do it for any product we sell, and offer that as a service. But there's still, ways to go there. Again, I think still, 85 to 90% of the sales are not being sold as managed services as of today, at least with our membership. So there's still work to be done there.
Yeah, no question. I mean, hopefully this isn't an odd question you weren't ready for, but do you think that there's anything that us, the manufacturers, could be doing better or different to make that process easier?
Yeah, I mean, I think one example, I was talking to my predecessor here at PSA about it when he bought an alarm company 40 years ago. The it was a franchise, and the franchise owner would come in and actually train you on how to sell managed services, with subscriptions and managed services, which the alarm industry has been doing for 50 years now. And so I think just in a general concept, the integrators need help on how to sell cloud and how to answer those questions and the objections, and even things like they're hearing a lot of they need SOC 2 compliance. And like, what is that? Like, bigger companies are requiring the integrators to be SOC 2 compliant, and that's not something you apply for online and get a certificate like a marriage license. This is something you need to spend some time and effort to get in compliance with if you're going to sell to those major organizations. So yeah, there's things to learn, and I think manufacturers can help in the education and training journey that integrators need to go through in order to successfully sell your product, but also to, what do they need to do to really convert their business over.
I mean, that's been an observation I've made a few trade show cycles ago, where I was sort of hearing what was discussed on the main stage at this particular event, and it kind of hit me. I thought, if I think back to when I was an integrator, I would say, okay, this is the 500th person telling me that I need to change or die, and the 500th person who doesn't really have one darn suggestion for me and how to do that. So I think that's
Yeah.
a fair.
Yeah, I heard that I mean, becoming a PSA tech for 30 years, but the first one when I was in charge here, we had the same panel up there talking about, you got to convert your business, and here are the reasons why. And somebody raised their hand and said, I've been hearing this pitch for 10 years. I don't want to, I believe it. I need to do it. I need help.
Yeah.
And that was the light bulb moment for me. We hired Chris Peterson in the Vector firm to do that
Mhm.
MSP training for our membership. It's a 6-month class. We're just finished our fourth cohort of those training. There's 10 to 12 companies per 6 months. And again, they use their training bucks, PSA training bucks, to pay for the class. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people saying you got to do it, but then you say, well, how do I do it? I don't know. So what PSA did was partner with a third-party company to provide that education, both in a group setting as well as individualized for the integrator to have a playbook at the end of that 6 months on how they're going to move forward and sell managed services.
No, that's fantastic. And again, like I said, I was really impressed, even 4 years ago, just hearing the amount of discussion there. And I don't remember if it was you or your predecessor. I think that was Mr. Bozeman that was discussing the fact that you even have several of your members that kind of get together on their own, just sort of organically have gotten together and started having regular discussions on, what their lessons learned are, trying to find that transition and try to benefit each other. So again, just always hear wonderful things, about what it means to be a member there. And I feel like I've hogged all the airtime from Aaron again. I know, Aaron, did you have some questions? I know you
I
interact with
absolutely do.
integrators every day, and you're getting questions about PSA. So I think,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, part of it is, we deal with a lot of smaller integrators that have just, regional reach. And, PSA is a term that's often thrown around when you think about, how do I extend my reach to wider markets, or I have a very large customer that, I have trouble supporting. PSA comes to mind, but I don't think I do you guys justice for kind of conveying how your partner network works. So, I mean, honestly, if you could kind of start from the top, tell like a integrator out there listening, how do I join PSA network? Sorry about the dogs in the background. And then what do I do to kind of take advantage of that network?
Yeah, it's a great question, Aaron. So, the easiest thing, you can go to our website and click on join PSA right at the top of the screen. And so there's a little form to fill out where you can send us an email and we'll have somebody reach out and contact you. So, we do have what an ideal PSA member looks like. You're typically in business for 5 years or longer and have, $3 million a year in annual revenue. Not that smaller companies are any, better or worse off. It's just because we're providing this we're acting as a bank in essence. We need to have some assurance that the company is going to be around, for a while because we are taking the financial risk. So, so yeah, I mean, we don't have an arduous process to join. We're not really, we are an exclusive membership. So we're not looking to sign up, everybody that is able to install a security product. But we really want companies that feel that the benefit of PSA, that they're going to contribute as much as they take from PSA, and that's part of the networking, coming to our events, learning from others. And I think really, if I'm an entrepreneur, the fact that you can pick up the phone and talk to, one of 250 companies in the US and ask a question like, hey, I'm having this issue. Have you ever run into this? Like, where are you going to get that kind of a sounding board as an entrepreneur in the security integration business? And again, sometimes these guys are competitors, but they feel like there's so much business out there that, it's not going to cause a problem. We do have, even if they're not PSA and they have a customer outside of their home territory, they can go to our website. We have a Google map on there that has every PSA owner, member, and even contractors on there to be subs for work. So they can contact any of our members if they need help on a project that's not in their backyard. Instead of flying people around to go install something, they should feel free to contact a PSA member and ask them if they're interested in doing some work with them. And maybe our membership is our best sales arm, so maybe they can talk to them about joining up.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's great info.
well,
Yeah,
there you go.
that's pretty much probably the most asked question. I was trying to go through my list here. I think we covered all the topics. What is a training buck? You mentioned that earlier. That's the first time I've heard that term as well.
Yeah, it's a good question. So for every dollar of product that an integrator buys through PSA, we put roughly 10 cents into a fund for that integrator to send people to training. whether that's to our event. We cover, the airfare, the registration costs for the event, or to your training classes. So if they wanted to fly to Indianapolis to get certified on Qumulex, they can apply to have reimbursement for the flights and hotel and cost of the class, if there is one. So this fund is set up to, again, anything we can do to help the integrators be more successful. And obviously training on the products is ultimately very important, so that they don't, they can install the product quickly and easily, and it works. It makes them more successful as an integrator, and hopefully they continue to grow and they continue to buy more product from PSA. So it's self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's basically a fund that's set aside for every dollar they buy through PSA. We put money in a bucket for them. And again, whatever's left over at the end of the year, as far as if we make any profit, which is the only company I've ever worked for that has no ambition of making money, we pay back the membership in the form of a dividend check, and they actually accumulate equity in PSA. So if they ever leave PSA, they get cashed out of their equity in PSA, and that could be 7-figure numbers. So it's it could be a substantial amount of money.
No, that's great.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, those were really great questions, Aaron. I should probably let you talk a little more often. All it takes is a dark room and some neon signs, and I think I'm a star. So, well, Matt, I know you're a very, very busy person, so it means a lot to me that you're willing to come on today and talk with us. And if you're an integrator out there, I know we've talked a lot about the plight of the integrator and how we can help them succeed and do better. Joining PSA is a really great route to take. I just can't. I mean, I honestly, dealing with PSA over the last 4 or 5 years, I kind of feel silly, that I did not partake in that when I was an integrator. So, and I know with your wisdom, your experience, I mean, everybody knows Matt and where he's been and what he's done. I think PSA made a good choice bringing you on, and I think it's pretty exciting to see all that you're doing there. So thanks again for coming on, and for everybody else, thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.